Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile. I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Project number 1. My dear friend Keisha sent me a picture of these planters she found at Family Dollar, so of course I had to go out and get some of my own. Now I don't care much for Buddha, but I very much like this Persephone mold that IOD put out last summer. In fact, I made a bunch of vases with it and they sell really quickly in my booth. I made a video of one of those vases, and at the end of this video you'll find a link to that. That's what gave me the idea to zhuzh up these planters so they don't look quite so Buddha-ish. I didn't have the exact color I wanted at home and my shop was closed, so I started with Debbie's DIY Salty Kiss and just added some different colors I had laying around the she shack. When I mix paint, I like to use this submersible handheld blender, but since this was just in a very small cup, I used my small milk frother that's rechargeable. Both of these were purchased at Amazon, and I'll leave a link for them in the description. If you use my link to buy anything from Amazon, I will get a small compensation from them, but it won't raise your price at all. I gave this planter 2 really good coats of that paint, and then I used the rest of the paint just to go back over and make sure if there were any places where it might be showing a little bit of white, I just covered those up. To remove the brush strokes, I got out my mister bottle, and if you guys haven't ever used one of these, you are missing out. They are so good for lots of different things, but aside from that, they're kind of fun. You pull back a whole bunch of times on the trigger, and then when you let go, it just lets out this continuous mist. It's like magic. I'm sure you can buy them different places, but of course I got mine on Amazon, and I will leave you a link for that as well. To give the planter some whimsy, I'm using leftover pieces from the gilded transfer book called Etiquette. They used a lot of different words in different fonts and pieces of words as well, and just letters and numbers to fill in the spaces around the designs in this book. So I'm just taking them and laying down the little scraps wherever they seem to fit. So if they're kind of oval, I put them on the eye. If they were elongated, I put them along the back of the ear. And I only used my fingernail. I didn't use my transfer stick, and these went on very easily. You know why? Because finally I remembered to let the paint dry all the way. That is key. And I did not seal it before I put these transfers on. Don't forget to burnish your transfers. I didn't do it every transfer. I did it like every third or fourth. I just went back and did them all at the same time. You just take that transfer sheet and you rub it over the top of the transfers. This little tool I'm using is a spatula that came in a kit of maybe 5 other spatulas in different sizes, and I believe I got that at Dollar Tree. It was kind of bendy, so it fit down into like all the little crevices where her eyes and lips are. I wanted to add some gold to the bubbles that make up her hair, so I got out my liquid patina in the color Golden Ticket. This is a product by Debbie's Design Diary. I sell this in my booth at Centerville Pickers Market in Anderson, South Carolina. However, I don't do mail order. But Debbie gave me a link to her website so my customers can buy directly from her, and she'll give me a small compensation, but it won't raise your price. I tried going over every bubble individually, but that is going to take way too long, and this girl does not have that kind of patience. So I just started using broad strokes and putting a lot of paint on, and my brush didn't go down into the crevices, so it worked really good, and I put 2 coats on the same way. To keep the shine of the gold gilded transfers and to add some more shine to Debbie's liquid patina, I used a high gloss clear spray sealer, and it is fantastic. I'm so glad I did that. Look how cute this is. Project number 2. For the second planter, I got out my Iron Orchid Designs air dry clay and the new mold called Blossom. Unfortunately, the film I took of this part got corrupted in the transfer, so you don't get to see me making this actual part and putting it on the planter. I have some great footage though of the planter after I got done with that part. You can see I just kind of picked the pieces apart and then put them back together in the way it would curve around like her ear or her eye socket. And then I used trimmings 2 around the top, and on the bottom of the back I used the brand new trimmings 4 mold. And you guys, I was not going for that look from that movie where the guy says, "Hello, Clarice." Silence of the Lambs. I've never seen it, but who hasn't ever heard that, right? Yep, this is just what happened. Here's a picture of trimmings 2, and I used the one with the daisy chain. And this is a picture of trimmings 4, and I do have footage of me making this one. I should have used cornstarch in the bottom of this mold because it's new, but a lot of times after I've done that once, I don't need to use it. And I heard that one of the Iron Orchid Designs sisters doesn't use it, and it worked pretty good. You can see in the beginning when I'm removing the clay, it did stick a little bit, but that's okay because it was really wide and I had to cut off some of those sides, and then I had to use that part to place along the bottom because it wasn't quite deep enough to cover all of her hair, and it worked out really good this way. But I do recommend using cornstarch the first time you use the molds, and if you do better than I do at cleaning them out so there's no cornstarch residue left over. I like to use Titebond Quick and Thick to attach my clay molds to almost any surface. I buy mine at Amazon, and I'll leave a link for that in the description. I lay the mold down upside down and then get enough of the glue on the back of it to cover it, and then I use a brush to distribute it all over the entire mold into all the little pieces and all the little parts that stick out on the edge. When I put it on the object, I use my whole entire hand to cover as much of the mold as I can, and I try to use an even pressure to press down. Not enough so that it's going to ruin the pretty flowers, but enough so that the glue will adhere inside all of those bubbles. And this stuck really good. I also used my little spatula to go around her ears. I mean, girlfriend's got some awesome ears there, and I think she needs to show them off and not be embarrassed and cover them up with flowers like I might do. This is where I took pieces of what was left over and I just added it along the bottom. Before the clay dries, I'm giving it one thick coat of Debbie's DIY in the color White Swan. Debbie's paints are highly pigmented, so I only needed to use one coat to cover this entire planter, and it looked really good. So next I'm adding some clear wax, and that makes a really good base for when you add other paint or wax over the top of it. If it's dark and you don't want too much, you can wipe it down. I hope that makes sense. I think it will make sense to you guys because y'all are the ones who taught me how to do this. Since I'm trying to get rid of stuff from my she shack, I took some of my old paint, a lot of different brown colors, and mixed them together about half paint and half white to find this color. And then I just started covering the entire planter. And guess what happened right after I got done with this? I started using a cloth to pull back some of that brown, and my camera gave me a warning. It died completely, and it said no more room left. And I thought, what is going on? So I started messing with that, and a whole bunch of time passed, and here I am fixing it again, and I totally forgot about the project. So now when I go to wipe it down, nothing happens. Oh, you guys, I was so bummed. So I got out my mister and I tried misting it, and it still wouldn't come off. I tried with the brush, I tried with the rag, nothing would work. So finally I just took it in the house and I ran it under some warm water in the sink, and it worked. It took off a lot of it, and I really actually like how it turned out. After her bath, I still had to use my cloth to pull back some of that brown. And I wasn't really happy with how the smooth part of her face looked, so I took out my crinoline paint and I went over it with just one coat, thinking I might add some more of the brown back over it. But when I got done with that crinoline, I couldn't, because look how pretty she is. So tell me, do you have a favorite? I really like them both, of course, but I see them totally differently. One would be in a house with some succulents and maybe some streamlined curtains, and the other one would be in a house with lots of ferns and lace, and that would be my favorite. Although I promise I do like them both. If you guys like them too, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. I would also love if you became one of my subscribers and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the fun here at Spindle Mountain Mercantile. Until you see me again, I hope you have a wonderful week, and as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.